All right, here we go, Uncle Mosh. We're working on our stream health right now.
Look at who's in the chat.
You. Welcome to Raiders Fan Radio, Uncle Mosh.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here. Me and me.
Me and you. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, let me get my little screen here. Here we go. Okay. You and you. All right, but no Ron. Oh, yeah, there you go. You just said, waiting on Ron.
Waiting on Ron, yeah.
All right, so Ron may not. I don't know. We're starting an hour earlier than we normally do on a Wednesday, so we may not get Ron. Yeah, I know. But hopefully we'll get him. I'll hit the button here and start the music, and then maybe Ron will pop on.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to episode number 108 of Raiders Fan Radio.
Oakland, LA, Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever. You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murf's Man Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Bolitnikov, a leaping pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Filipiano at the 50, time running down. Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory. The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play.
Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome to another, what we hope to be fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 108 of Raiders Fan Radio, coming to you live from Murf's Fan Cave. And as you could tell, the old man winter has arrived. It is cold outside. We got the Christmas tree working, and the winter clothes, the hoodies and the beanies and the knit hats, and if you will, the toques if you're from north of the border, the toques. And there's one guy that rocks a toque or a Santa hat, I should say, better than most of us, and that is the one and only Uncle Mosh. Uncle Mosh, welcome back to Raiders Fan Radio.
I'm glad to be here. And I think I'm Santa anyway.
You kind of are Santa.
I bulk up this time of year. I used to have this whole idea, right? Like I'd bulk up in the winter just so I could watch skinny people shiver. and then it got to the point when as I got older, I got cheaper. Right?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if I bulk up in the winter, come summertime, I can get a really big tan. And people are out there with their little 100-pound bodies, right? And they're getting tan. No, I sport the 3, right? I go 3 times that, and I can get all those free sun rays for nothing.
Ah,
it
nice.
costs me nothing.
Bigger, more tan for the money.
More tan because fat looks better tanned anyway.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. All right.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're looking good.
I'm feeling good. I got my. Thank you very much. I got my Al Davis glasses on. One of my students made me a scarf.
Nice.
And I'm like, it's just an extension of the beard.
It is.
If I didn't have the Santa hat on, it'd be an extension of the hair. Pete Koch is jealous, but that's okay. We'll hear from Pete a little bit later in the show.
Well done. Well, yes, as you mentioned, we'll hear from Pete Koch by Radio ID, of course. And
yes, sir.
Give you a quick little rundown on what we're going to do tonight here on Raiders Fan Radio. We have a lot of Sea of Fans mailbag, both by email and by voice message, has been wound up, and it has been great lately. And there is a lot of those messages to get to, and so that will, as usual, be the feature and focus of this episode. But before we get to those, we are going to talk about the significance of the number 108 in terms of Raider Nation. We're going to talk a little bit about the Oakland Raiders. We're going to talk about Darren Waller, the new standout, or at least for a couple of plays, tight end the Raiders found. We're going to talk about John Gruden and Stephen A. Smith. One or both of us is going to go for 30 on the Pro Bowl. Then we are going to talk about the roster moves and how they have benefited and or not benefited the team, based on some comments and really by request. We're taking requests. Request line. The request line
now
is
open.
That's right. And so we someone asked us if we would discuss this topic, I believe on our Facebook, and so we are going to do that. And then it's all Sea of Fans for the rest of the way out, and we should get out of here after about 90 or 190 minutes, one of the other. But Uncle Mosh, before we get started and before we get to the significance of the number 108 here,
Okay.
There's another significant number that's coming up here in just a few days.
Oh.
And that is, if you don't know,
Ooh, what's a
Uncle
biggie?
Mosh, his birthday is on Sunday, and he's going to be
this Sunday?
It's a Sunday, right? Is it this Sunday? Wait a minute. What's the date?
What's
Today's the 19th. Yeah. It's this Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah. It's your birthday.
Dang it.
Yeah. Your birthday's this Sunday, and you're going to be the big 6-0, man.
Yeah, man.
You're going to be 60. So Uncle Mosh is going to be 60. So last week,
Wow.
we mentioned that the giving season in our family kind of starts about October, a little before Halloween. And so, and I gave Uncle Mosh his new glasses with the chain. But being that it's his 60th birthday, I would be remiss if, number one, we didn't celebrate your birthday. So I can't play happy birthday music because
it's copyrighted.
Because it's copyrighted, violation, and you really don't want me to sing to you.
No.
So those two things are out.
That's the best thing to come out of the Raiders' loss is you didn't have to sing on Mikey and Murf.
Yeah. Exactly. And but I got you something. I got your birthday gift.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So here it is. So let me hold it up here to the thing. So here it is. So here's Uncle Mosh's birthday gift. My beautiful wife wrapped it, and she does an amazing job wrapping presents. And then there's a card.
I hate to open it.
You got to do it.
I hate to wreck the.
You got to do it on the show.
60 in my world is a big number.
60 in your world. Well, you love that number.
I love Well, I was 55 for about 7 years.
Long time.
I love the double nickels.
You love double nickels.
I love double nickels. So I'm opening up my card.
Okay.
And your wife and my wife are in the card business.
Yeah, they're scrapbookers.
They're scrapbookers, and now they make cards.
Yeah, they're card bookers.
They're card bookers, and they make cards. And
or is it scrap carders?
So card scrappers.
Card scrappers. There you go.
So it says, "Happy birthday, Mosh!" A big 6-0 from the marketing and production team at RFR.
Yeah.
Wait, aren't I on that?
Yeah.
Wait, that are me.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I should have signed my card.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. So there you go. So it's got
it's
the
a great
sport
card.
flags on there.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
it's made
And
by
then,
my
of
wife, and
course,
then
it's got stuff on the inside.
yeah,
so.
exactly. Yeah.
Hey, this is almost like me trolling for gifts on our podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're doing it now. I didn't announce to anybody what we were doing. So this is coming as a surprise. So, So Uncle Mosh's birthday is just a couple days before Christmas, and it's the big 6-0 for him. And so we wanted to definitely, like I said, celebrate that. And so I got him a little something. And if I'm giving it to him on Raiders Fan Radio, that it
probably Raider
it
related.
could possibly, maybe.
Oh, and I knew it. Why did I know this?
Did you know this?
No, I'm totally guessing. But people that know me know who my all-time favorite Raider is.
Yeah.
Otis Sistrunk.
Right. And what number did he wear?
Number 60.
There you go.
So what Murf and the family have given me is tickets to Otis Sistrunk's house. No, is a signed picture of the man from the University of Mars, Otis Sistrunk. Authenticated on the back. Wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's
this
legit.
Is incredible, Murf.
It's legit. Yeah, it's got the certificate of authenticity and all that good stuff there.
Wow.
And, good
Thank
stuff,
you, man.
So absolutely, it was. I reached out to Otis to see if he would come over and welcome Otis. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but no. So just shy of having Otis over here to the fan cave, we thought we'd get you an autograph picture of your favorite
that's
player.
amazing.
And it was perfect because it's your number.
It's my number.
Your number.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
age, yeah.
I might be 60 for a while.
You might be 60 for as long as you were 55.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Otis up by Wilson.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to put up Wilson tonight.
Well,
It's okay because
you take him down.
so Otis.
Otis would be replaced by Wilson.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Sure, you're welcome,
So
you're welcome.
Cool. The
Yeah.
card and the Wow, that's the best. That's the best.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is a great.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And you're getting a lot of happy birthdays from the chat room there. So thank you for all of you jumping in the chat. So I can't scroll up to read everybody, but David Jones, Bobby Wasabi, Raider Critique, Peter Martinez, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Chris Potts, representing the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole. What's up, Chris? Often featured on the Fan Club Blitz. Also, Chris is. Whitey, Marskel. Appreciate everybody joining us here. Mojo Raider just hopped in there. Thanks, guys, for joining us for episode number 108 of
Absolutely.
Raiders Fan Radio. Uncle Mosh, so before we get to the 108 significance, let's get to the contact information, and that is when Uncle Mosh tells you how you can get in touch with us.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us show at RaidersFanRadio.com or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Murf's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, Raider Nation, thanks again for joining us here on episode number 108. So to celebrate the significance of the number 108, we went back to those 70 Raiders that the one and only Otis Sistrunk played for, but we're going to go the other side of the line, and we're going to go to the offensive line, and that is where one of the best guards at the time played for the Raiders, and he was drafted in the 1977 draft in the 4th round and played for the Oakland and Los Angeles Raiders. He played from 1977 to 1987, and we are talking about number 65, Mickey Marvin. Well, what does that have to do with 108, Murf? Well, what it means is that he played in 120 games for the Raiders, and he started 108 of them. So we want to celebrate the one and only Mickey Marvin, and being a member of those two Super Bowl teams, the Raiders winning Super Bowl 15 and of course Super Bowl 18, and talk about one of the greatest offensive lines in all of football. You went through a couple of transitions. You had different guys in there like George Bueller and Dalby and Vela and whatnot, but it was mainly Shell and Upshaw, and then of course Mickey Marvin came in 77. So cool thing about Mickey Marvin is that ultimately he ended up being a scout for the Raiders. So we're going to hear a little bit about Mickey. Sadly, we lost him last year. He was he had ALS, and we lost him early on, unfortunately. But before that, before he passed away, he was inducted into the Fritz Pollard. I'm trying to think it's not the Academy, but the foundation. Anyways, they give out an award every year, and Mickey was recognized in 2016. So let's hear about a little bit of his induction ceremony.
Mickey Marvin was played at the University of Tennessee for 4 years, was drafted in the 4th round in the 1977 draft by the Oakland Raiders, and went on to play 11 seasons with the Raiders, starting 108 out of 120 games, including 2 Super Bowl championships. Mickey Marvin, then Mr. Davis had him join the scouting staff in 1988. Mickey has given 39 years of his professional life to this game. And beyond that recognition that he deserves for what he's given to the game, the way this man has carried himself throughout those 39 years is what he's really, truly needs to be recognized for. You won't meet a man of stronger faith, of stronger love of his family. Mickey truly loves his family. All of us in this room are very, very blessed to be part of this great game. And being part of this great game, we form a lot of relationships over the years. And fortunately, I've been blessed as well as many of you in this room to have formed a relationship with this great man.
All right, some pretty glowing praise there of Mickey Marvin, and by all accounts, he was not only a great football player, great Raider, but a great man. And Mosh, we love our Raiders Tennessee connections, don't we?
Yes, every time, man. That's great.
Absolutely. So here's another one. So, of course, Mickey played for the University of Tennessee, and he gave an interview. One of the last interviews that he gave, Mosh, was in 2014 at Volunteers practice. And, of course, the first thing that comes out of his mouth, he starts talking about Al Davis and about playing for the Raiders as well.
Nice.
Vol fans, I'm here with VFL Mickey Marvin, who was a guard for the Vols from 1973 to 1976. You also won 2 Super Bowls with the Raiders, and now you're a scout for the Raiders. What has that transition been like from player to scout?
Well, for me personally, after finishing my career here and playing for 11 years for the Raiders, Al Davis, who was the owner of the Raiders, had offered me the job in college scouting about halfway through my career. And when I got cut in training camp in my 12th year in 1988, true to his word, he gave me the job, put me on the road 3 weeks later. My first boss with the Raiders was Ron Wolf, of course, who went to Green Bay Packers as their GM and did historical things with Reggie White, another former Volunteer, and of course Brett Favre and a lot of great players up there. But he had helped Mr. Davis build the Raiders when he came there in 1963. But obviously, working for Ron, working for Mr. Davis, and just, you play football your life, to get to that highest level. And thank God I was fortunate enough to do that.
So pretty cool there, a little interview with Mickey Marvin. Isn't it funny, Uncle Mosh? It doesn't matter how many of these guys we've gone back and listened to their interviews. Doesn't matter what era of the Raiders they played in. What do they always say? The same thing.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. It's first things out of their mouth.
First things out of their mouth.
Constantly.
It's crazy.
I love it, man.
I do too, man. I'm with you. It's so cool. So anyway, so we want to celebrate Mickey Marvin. Started 108 games in his Raiders career, and so we want to definitely celebrate him and his life here on Raiders Fan Radio. Uncle Mosh, you got your sis drunk up there behind you now, I see.
Oh yeah. Where am I? This hand.
There you go.
Yeah, right
that
there.
looks cool, man. I like it. Got your card there, and then your sis drunk, man. Yeah, it looks good.
One of these days, we're gonna get zooms on our cameras.
We actually could zoom. It might take me a second, but do you want to zoom?
Nah, we don't need no stinking. We don't need no stinking zooms.
Hold on, let's see if we can zoom. Let's just do this. Let's one time. One
time.
One
so
time.
I'll commentate.
So here we
Murf
go.
is on the Zoom camera.
But I can't pan.
There's
so
no
all I
pan.
can do is zoom in on your face.
Oh, thanks.
Whoa! Whoa.
We call that here in Raiders Fan Radio the birthday zoom.
I'm sure the YouTubes are loving that, the zooming on your.
I got a zit. I'm 60. I got a zit.
All right, Uncle Mosh. So here on Raiders Fan Radio, we don't give props. We don't give shout outs, but we give respect. We like to give respect because respect is what?
Respect is earned.
Respect is earned, man.
Respect is, you can't demand respect.
No.
You can't pay for respect.
No.
You don't go to the respect store. You don't go into 7-Eleven and go, hey, let me have a big gulp and a bottle of respect. Doesn't happen like that. No.
Doesn't work like that.
No, respect is earned.
Respect is earned.
And we give respect. When respect's due, respect is it's earned, it's due. It's better than a shout out.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, a couple guys that are in respect this week. Number one, I'm going to interview this week a Raider fan named Michael Sen. And Michael, the first time he and I spoke was kind of around Veterans Day. And the idea was to maybe get him in to do an interview for Veterans Day because he's an Army veteran.
Right.
But then our schedules didn't quite align, and mainly on my side because we have so much stuff going on. But anyways, I've been in touch with Michael, and he is going to the last game now in Oakland. So the Raiders, for those of you, and I'm sure everybody listening to us knows this, but the last game in Oakland is going to be this Monday night on Christmas Eve against the Broncos. And so in terms of our conversation, he had asked for kind of prayers for safe travel and experience there, because there's all this talk about, people are going to be ripping the seats out and like all this like craziness. And I wouldn't be surprised if that goes on. I don't think it's going to create an unsafe environment, thankfully, but I think people are going to be pretty wild with the idea that this is going to be the last game in Oakland. So anyway, so Michael's not only going to the game, but he's bringing his wife and he's bringing his 2 kids, and his brother is bringing his wife and their 2 kids, and they're sitting in like section 118. And so they're going to be right in the middle of everything. And so I will really want to hear from him a firsthand account of his experience at the game. So on the 27th, Michael and I are going to interview, and then we'll have that for you coming up on the next episode. It'll be episode number 109 of Raiders Fan Radio. So definitely want to give him a lot of respect, give him a shout out, prayers up for safe travels. You're going to have an amazing time. I don't think it's going to be, it's not going to be a riot.
No, it's going to be a blast, man.
Yeah, it's not going to be nickel beer night. And, right. You know what I mean? So that'll be really cool. So what do you think, Mosh? You think, would you, obviously you can't bring in a crescent wrench with you and unbolt the seat, but we've seen this at other stadiums that at the last time ever a team has played there, that people kind of take souvenirs of the park with them.
Souvenirs, right? Anything that's got to have a Raiders logo on it is people are going to attempt to take that down. Or, if you were in a seat for many, many years, you got ownership to that.
Hey, you paid for PSL. It's a personal seat license, right?
Absolutely. If you've got the license, but who are we to encourage vandalism?
Yeah, we wouldn't do that.
We wouldn't do that.
Yeah. They have carbon fiber wrenches that you could, wouldn't go out set off a metal detector. But what do I know? I'm just a podcast host.
Christopher Potts on the chat goes, yes, nickel beer night.
Of course.
No, Chris, we're not.
Of course.
Bobby Wasabi says, bring your 9/16 socket.
Of course. Don't you love it that one of the guys from the Black Hole, New Jersey is the one that jumps in on nickel beer night?
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, tell the folks at the Irish Cottage Inn that they need to have a nickel beer night for you guys.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. So anyway, one more, relative to the chat there, that says Joe Valdez says Uncle Mosh is now Kevin the Raider nerd. Funny you say that, because the other person I wanted to give respect to this week is Kevin the Raider nerd.
Sure.
Kevin passed through town last week. He came through on Friday. Kevin and I talk once in a while, and he had mentioned he was going to the Cincinnati game, the Pillage the Jungle game, which we didn't pillage, but the idea was to pillage the jungle. But Raider Nation certainly pillaged Cincinnati, and so he was on his way up there for the game. And I said, well, why don't you swing by and we'll record some stuff while you're in town. So we recorded an episode of his hair metal podcast, which is a blast. I've actually done that once before, and we did another episode. We did Skid Row and Guns N' Roses, which was killer. And but then before that, we did an interview on Raiders Fan Radio. And being that it was in the morning, I said, we were just going to sit down and just do a chat, just do an interview like we normally would do. But I said, well, let's flip on the cameras, man, and let's stream it and see what happens. I said, we might only get maybe 1 or 2 people to watch us, but it'll be fun. We're going to record this anyway, so let's go ahead and do it. And plus, Kevin, he's got all his stuff on. He looks cool, so you know what I mean. So,
absolutely.
So we did it, and a couple hundred of you watched us do that, and so much respect to him. Thank you to you for paying attention to us at 9:00 our time on a freaking Friday morning, when we just do something on a whim, and our audience is willing to engage and to watch that.
And thank you, and a big shout out to your employers for letting you have that time while working. To join in on our podcast.
Yeah.
We love your bosses.
Yes, you have the best bosses in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but much respect to Kevin. We had a blast. We hung out. We did the 2 shows, and then we went over to King Louie's place and his taco shop there and had lunch.
Amazing?
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so good. So yeah, we have pretty good Mexican food now. Where we live in Middle Tennessee, it's especially now with a guy like Louie. But that place there, it's great. But even aside from that, it's gotten better. But it's never been like what it's been like for us, what we grew up with in California. It's just not even close.
No.
but this is authentic, man. It was legit. We had it was so good, and so thank you to Louis for hosting us, and so much respect to him. Also, Louis a great representation of a representative of Raider Nation, and back there in his spot, man, where he's cooking up food and he's got his TV set up there where he's got every Raider game and everything going on back there, and he was wearing his Raiders Fan Radio shirt when we showed up, man. So that was awesome. So definitely thank you, and much respect to King Louis and to Kevin for coming through. We had a lot of fun.
Speaking of Kevin,
yeah.
So I watched the YouTube
of me and Kevin,
of you and Kevin.
Yeah,
I mean, after hours, of course, because I was giving a final exam. I couldn't necessarily watch it live. My boss isn't that cool. She's great, but she's not. She wouldn't quite understand that one. Anyway, Kevin was sitting in my chair. And
I was wondering if you were going to say anything about that.
Kevin was in my chair. Kevin was sporting his scrawny little self in my chair, and I'm okay with that because normally I would be a little bothered. I'm getting to that point with my age that I gather my things around me.
Yes.
Don't touch my stuff.
Don't touch my stuff.
You touch my stuff, I kill you. To quote Francis.
Take it easy, Francis.
But the point is, I understand it. I understand it because the guest chair is still not back from being fumigated after that Pittsburgh squealer person was here and sitting in it. So it's okay this time.
Okay.
Next time he's got to adorn the guest chair.
The guest spot over there?
The guest spot.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
Since it's not back, from being reupholstered and all that stuff.
Right.
So. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, well, thank you for your willingness to concede the chair there.
And I really like Kevin. So.
And Kevin's cool, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so much respect to Kev, and thanks again for joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raider. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murf and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Uncle Mosh, let's get to a few Raiders stories. First off, everybody's going nuts today because the Raiders signed free agent quarterback, interception happy Nathan Peterman, formerly of the Buffalo Bills. And everybody take one big giant collective breath and let old Murf here put your mind at ease. Nathan Peterman, he's going to the practice squad, and all he's going to do is be a scout guy because A.J. McCarron is out this week because his wife has had a baby, and he's at the hospital, and so he's not going to run the scout team this week, and Peterman's going to do it. And yes, John Gruden loved Nathan Peterman coming out of college, and I'm sure there's some still affinity left over, but this is not a long-term solution. This isn't him staging this guy to replace Derek Carr. This isn't, don't believe all the craziness that you see and read out there. We always bring you the truth. We always distill it down into what the actuality of the world is in terms of Raider news, and we promise you that's all this is. Don't get too fired up about this. It is absolutely a story about nothing. It's much ado about nothing. The guy's going to run the scout team and not Rico Gafford this week. So it's really not a big deal. So, all right, Uncle Mosh, here is a fun story though. And this is something that I think makes for an interesting discussion because while we don't get too hung up on hypotheticals, this is really, it's a hypothetical with a lot of reality to it. And I don't think there's a good answer. So I want to hear your opinion on this. And I believe it was Emiliano brought it up on our social media this week. It might have been Mojo. I can't remember who it was. It's one of you, and I apologize. One of you brought up the idea that if the Oakland Raiders, as of this next year, don't play in Oakland, if they have to play in, wherever, Levi's Stadium, Qualcomm, whatever, that there's a host of places we've already covered that the Raiders could play. What's their name going to be, Mosh?
Well, I have an answer for that.
Okay.
I do have an answer for that, and
okay.
I got a couple of reasons behind that answer. First of all, I love Mojo Raider. Don't get me wrong, but Mojo Raider, he's trying to break some news here on the chat.
Uh-oh.
He's trying to claim that and it's a fact that the 2019 home games will be played in Gruden's backyard. Now, there may be some practices that happen in Gruden's backyard.
Where's that? Is that Marin County? Is that where that is? Yeah.
But so this is what I think. If they go to San Diego, are they going to be the California Raiders?
I hope not.
If they go to San Antonio, are they going to be? They can't be the Texas Raiders.
Can't be the Texas Raiders.
So are they going to be the San Antonio Raiders? No. Let me tell you, back in the day, at Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, in the end zones, we were the first team ever. And you can check me out, you fact checkers. Check me out on this. We were the first team ever in our end zone to write Raiders on one side and Oakland on the other. So I'm saying this. Everybody knows who the Raiders are.
Okay.
We will be the Raiders. We will not be the Oakland Raiders, the Vegas Raiders. We will not be the New York Jets, the New York Giants, the San Francisco 49ers, the Chicago Bears. There will not be a city attached to us. We will be the Raiders. You heard it here first. I promise you.
I love it.
It will be the Raiders. Now, Joe Valdez says Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I love that. No, it's going to be the Raiders. That's all that's necessary when you're talking about the Raiders.
Well, you know what, Mosh? I think that's very interesting, and I hadn't necessarily thought of that because I thought, well, if anything, they'll just adopt the Las Vegas moniker early. But I think there's a lot of merit to what you say, and here's why: is that for anybody watching on the feed here, you can see the shirt that I'm wearing. I just got this thing, and it says exactly
Raiders.
It just says Raiders. There's nothing to affiliate. The hat, the beanie I'm wearing now. This beanie is a couple years old now, but it just says Raiders on it. This year, and I don't know if you guys noticed this the other day in the Cincinnati game. This year, the NFL just kind of their beanies are always out, but they really start to promote them when the weather turns cold like it has. So they've started to promote the sale of their beanies. Every team has the logo like this,
right,
and then the city,
right,
except for one.
Who would that be?
The Raiders. It
Absolutely.
doesn't say Oakland on there, and it definitely doesn't say Las Vegas. But and I mentioned this in a few shows ago that almost all the marketing stuff that you see, all of the swag that you see out there for the Raiders, none of it says Oakland anymore. Good luck trying to find something that says Oakland Raiders.
Right.
And that was before all this.
That was before the lawsuits.
Yeah, so now that the city of Oakland has essentially turned a middle finger to the Raiders or whatever, the Raiders have turned one back. And I promise you, I'm with you, Mosh. Now, again, could we see an acceleration of the Vegas Raiders? I don't know, maybe. But I think you're right. I think it'll just be the Raiders, which is actually really cool. If you think about it, it's a very cool concept, especially for our fans. Because, I mean, we know how many Southern California Raiders fans there are. We know how many fans there are all over this dang globe. How cool would that be if they were just the Raiders? I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
That's because then what if they do have truly a nomad season? What if they do split a schedule between Mexico City and London? And what are you going to call them? You call
Raiders?
Call them Raiders.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
You know, I saw something really cool this week. I was channel surfing the other day. I'm sitting in there in my underwear in my chair playing Candy Crush, watching the dogs sweat, and I'm going, what is this? And I stop on this show, the Tim Allen show, the new one, The Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
And his youngest daughter brings home her boyfriend, right? And it's the first boyfriend that Tim likes. Okay, so Tim plays a fairly conservative guy, and he's in Denver, and we won't hold that against him. And they're having dinner, and Tim really likes the guy, right? And everything's going good. Oh, yeah, he's a hunter, and he's a fisherman, and he's a Republican, and he's this, and he's that, and he's all this stuff. And then the guy goes, and they go, hey, what about football? And he goes, oh, yeah, I'm very passionate about football. He goes, my dad was born and raised in California, and I totally am a Raiders fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so the whole show takes this twist, and it's this confrontation between Tim Allen. Of course, he's supposedly in Denver, right?
Yeah.
He's a Broncos fan. And the very last scene of the show, like the boy goes away and then he comes back, blah, blah, blah. And the boy takes off his shirt and he's got a Raiders jersey on underneath it.
Oh,
And
nice.
he's like, the show ends with "Go Raiders." Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
I'm like, oh, this rocks, man. And I've been like trying to find the episode,
Oh,
I don't
we'll
know,
look that up. Yeah.
I don't know what year it was from. I don't know if it was from
I'm
this
gonna make a
year.
note right now.
Yeah, this year or last year or whatever. But it's like, I'm like, yes. That was so cool. It was so cool.
Oh, that's great, Mosh.
And Tim Allen's great because he likes to let them take a few pot shots at him.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The kid ends,
He's a good self-deprecating comedian. Yeah,
yes, the kid ends at the show with that. So I love that.
That's awesome. Well, I'll definitely look that up. I'll get that soundbite. I'll find that, and we'll get that on next week's episode. That's fun. All right. So another thing that came up this week, really. Mosh, this last game, there really wasn't a ton to get excited about, was there? It was a little bit of a rough watch, watching the Raiders there play Cincinnati. We couldn't move the ball. There was a great article this week in the Murf, Jerry McDonald, 4 reasons the Raiders only scored 16 points against the NFL's worst defense. Number 1 is the Raiders couldn't establish a ground game. We couldn't run the football. Derek Carr underthrew Jordy Nelson on a would-be touchdown. Derek missed that pass, man. Look, warts and all.
Derek would own it, man.
Derek would own it. The Raiders had their best player taken away, which is Jared Cook.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals did a really good job of covering him up. And then last but not least, we have a makeshift offensive line, and they played like one. When you got 2 guys that playing guard, and you look at them and you go, who? Like, who are these guys? You know what I mean?
Right.
Green and good. Like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so anyway, so there was a lot of reasons that we lost that game. But there was a couple of highlights. All right. So the big highlight, or at least the big player to provide highlights for us, was a tight end named Darren Waller. Now, I knew that we'd signed Darren Waller from the Ravens, from their practice squad.
Okay.
But the first time that I had any awareness, and I'm willing to bet most of you had an awareness of Darren Waller, was when they ran a sweep to the tight end. And all of a sudden, he takes off, and I'm like, who is that guy? And he's big, okay? So Darren Waller, if you don't know, he's like 6'6", and ran a 4.46 at the combine. So he's a big dude. And so anyway, so he goes taking off, and I'm like, what the crap? I'm like, who is this guy? Well, then a little bit later on, we saw that he had another big play there. And let's see, I'm trying to find what the stats were on that. So on the sweep, it gained 21 yards on the sweep. And then he had another, that big play that set up the touchdown was like a 44-yard or whatever. That was the touchdown that went to Lee Smith. So I'm like, who is this guy? So I started digging into it. And there's a few things that are really cool about Darren Waller, Uncle Mosh. Number 1 is that, yes, he is a size and speed guy. And as much as we love Jared Cook, there's the potential that Jared Cook could be set up for a big payday. And as much as I would love to see the Raiders sign him because we need him, if we need another tight end, another playmaker, another size, speed, good catching or pass catching tight end, this Darren Waller guy looks like he could be legit. He certainly got the raw skills and the raw talent.
I loved his sweep was so much better than when they gave the ball to Jordy Nelson.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, this guy had some wheels.
He had some wheels, man.
Yeah.
It was a great play, great design, great call, and Waller executed it fantastically. So anyway, so Darren Waller. So I started digging into it a little bit. Well, he had some substance abuse issues, is why he kind of ended up in a little bit of the doghouse that he
haven't
did.
We all?
I can say, right?
Yeah.
And we love a redemption story.
Absolutely.
And this guy has done all the right things. When you read through and listen and read everything that he's done now, since kind of screwing up, he's done all the right things. He's gone to the meetings. He's done the right things. He's got himself clean. He's owning everything he's ever done.
Right.
He wants to essentially bring back his football career. He's 26 years old.
Oh my gosh.
The guy's got a lot of football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So really, really cool story there for Darren Waller. And man, I'm gonna get excited about this guy and think of him in the lines of like, okay, next year, Chris Warren Jr. the third comes back. If somebody like this could be a playmaker for us at tight end, that's pretty cool, man. You
Waller
can start,
and Cook next year.
Oh my God! How about our version of Hernandez and Gronk, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Chevy Raider says that would be dope.
Oh my gosh,
for sure.
that would be great. So then, but I got one. So as fun and as cool as all that is and was, I got one more tidbit for you.
Come on, hit me with it.
Darren Waller. Do you know? and I'm asking the proverbial you, because I know you don't know this, Uncle Mosh, who his great-grandfather is.
Actually, I do know that.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Hit me with it.
Fats Waller.
Yes!
The jazz musician.
Yes, you knew that?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, Mosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what's really cool about Fats? Fats played with all the greats. Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, he played with everybody.
Yes.
When Fats Waller, I'm getting chills thinking about it.
Okay.
When he died, they gave his eulogy and everything, and he was cremated, and he had an African-American pilot from World War I fly over Harlem and spread his ashes.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That
is
cool or what?
That is very, very cool.
Yeah. The guy's got legit lineage.
Oh, that's so Fats Waller, he passed away early in life. He's only 39 years old. He died in 1943. He was an American jazz pianist, organist, composer, singer, and comedic entertainer. His innovations in the Harlem Stride style laid the groundwork for modern jazz piano. His best-known compositions, Ain't Misbehavin' and Honeysuckle Rose, were inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1984 and 1999. Ain't Misbehavin' is great.
You got it?
I can't play it.
Oh,
I know. I
because of
wanted
copyright
to.
rules.
Because of copyright. I wanted to play
Everybody
it.
needs to look that up, man.
Look it up. Look up Ain't Misbehavin', Fats Waller.
Spotify or something.
It's on YouTube. You can find it. It's great. It's great.
Unbelievable.
So that's this guy, Darren Waller's great-grandfather.
Wow.
So very, very cool story.
Love it.
All right, Uncle Mosh.
Absolutely.
Hit us a break there. Pick one out there for us. I got to catch my breath here. We'll get to the next story.
All right. Speaking of great musicians.
Yeah, right. Hey everybody, this is Johnny Spencer from the punk rock band Stringer, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with Murf and Uncle Mosh. Go Raiders, baby.
All right, Uncle Mosh. I had to take a breath here for this one because we're getting ready to go in.
Hot and heavy.
We're getting ready to go
in.
We're going in. All right, so for those of you that listen to and or watch us with any kind of regularity, you know that earmuffs the kids, you know I have a case of the ass for mainstream media. When it comes to ESPN, Fox Sports 1, I don't care which one it is, when mainstream media as a whole, but especially in the sports media landscape, you know that I have I take issue or umbrage with a lot of the things that get thrown out there. And the reason that I get that way is that there's so much misinformation that gets spread, especially in terms of our football team. It drives me insane because it winds Raider Nation up completely unnecessarily, like the Nathan Peterman story this morning.
Yep.
It's really a non-story. When you find out why they did it, it makes perfect sense. But on the surface, everybody freaks the heck out, and it drives me nuts. Well, one of the biggest proponents of that type of reporting, we'll call it, I use that term very, very loosely, is Stephen A. Smith. Now, you've not heard me talk a lot about Stephen A. Smith on this show, very intentionally. Mikey will bring him up once in a while and play a clip on Mondays with Mikey and Murf, but we don't talk about Stephen A. Smith very often because he is one of the worst when it comes to this kind of stuff, and he's one of the worst in terms of how he approaches news and or stories with the Raiders. So something happened with him this week, and he showed his ass, and so that's why we're going to feature a few sound clips here, and we're going to cover the story because it's one way for us to kind of take a shot at it, and it really proves a point that I hope we can really drive home with you all that listen to us, and that is, the point is that when you listen to these guys that are commenters on all sports, and I'm even throwing Dan Patrick in there, and I love Dan Patrick, you love Dan Patrick, we are Dan Patrick guys. But even him, when you have these announcers, commentators, show hosts that cover all sports, it's just about impossible for them to be entrenched into the actuality and the real world news of a specific team. I get it. It makes sense. And that's why because I consume 90% of my sports news is Raiders related.
Right.
We distill it down and then give it to you. So that's when we tell you, don't trust what this person or this network or these people tell you. It's because when you pay attention to people like Jerry McDonald and Steve Corcoran and Matt Schneidman, and they are giving you the real world news because they're on the ground at the facility, that they have one job. They have one team they're reporting on, not 90. Okay. So this Stephen A thing, is a big picture. So again, like what we do, we'll give you the whole story. We're not going to give you one snippet that was the hot soundbite this week. We're going to give you that too, but there's history here. So when it comes to Stephen A. and John Gruden, Stephen A. was critical of John Gruden out of the gate when he started flirting with the Raiders on a comeback. And he was highly critical of John Gruden coming out of the booth and returning to not only coach the team, but the idea that there might be potential ownership in the team. He already started in on Gruden back in January, and Gruden came out and defended himself and basically diffused any of what Stephen A.'s comments are. Then fast forward up until just this last week. Okay, so you have that bit of history.
Sure.
Then this past week, Reggie McKenzie gets let go, and Stephen A. starts in again on John Gruden, and here's what he had to say.
Stephen A., was he the scapegoat of this Raiders' current mess?
Absolutely he was. He got screwed. He got screwed. And that's really the bottom line in all of this. And I'm disgusted because I'm going to tell you something right now. John Gruden worked here at ESPN for many years. Yeah. Phenomenal on Monday Night Football, phenomenal colleague. I'm very, very disappointed at the John Gruden that I've seen in Oakland. From the moment he arrived, he talked smack about players that Reggie McKenzie had drafted. Mm-hmm. He got rid of Khalil Mack. Yeah. He got rid of Amari Cooper. A matter of fact, you have people out there joking that John Gruden should be Executive of the Year because he elevated Chicago and Dallas. Okay? I mean, he elevated two teams in the National Football League. Okay? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
But
because he elevated.
Facts. Both those players were difference makers.
Both of those players are difference makers, okay? So not only do you do that, but in the same breath, you're talking about moving Derek Carr, who Reggie McKenzie also drafted. Also, you're looking at it from the standpoint that you don't want to spend money or what have you. You handicap this man. You're Mark Davis. You bring in John Gruden. You give him $100 million over 10 years with incentives, according to my sources, that buffers it up to $118 to $120 million if he meets certain goals or whatever the case may be. My point is that you ain't had a nice word to say about Reggie McKenzie since you arrived. You certainly haven't had a nice word to say about the job. Now, keep in mind, a couple of years ago, before Derek Carr goes down in the second to last game of the season, we were talking about the Oakland Raiders potentially going to the AFC Championship game. This is less than 2 years ago. We were talking about them potentially going to the AFC Championship game. But because John Gruden is there with his Mr. $100 million contract, which none of us would turn down, by the way, so I'm not faulting him for it.
I'll take it for sure.
I would take it. For him, for this man, Reggie McKenzie, to be moved out, there is no question that he is being scapegoated because they're clearly giving everybody the impression that he was a big problem.
He's not the scapegoat.
I think that's the way I'm taking from it.
Oh my gosh, I can barely get through it. I know, it's terrible. And I'm sorry.
He's an idiot.
He's a freaking idiot. And I'm so sorry, Raider Nation, to do that to you. But this, I promise, is all going to go somewhere. Like how Raider Homer says, want to hear the worst sound ever? Yeah, I know that. It's terrible. So anyway, so Mosh, you and I both know. So, and so does everybody in the chat and everybody listening. You could just hear the wrong radiating off of this guy.
I want this idiot to play one sound clip of Gruden trashing Reggie.
Yeah, there isn't.
They don't exist.
They don't exist.
Play me one sound clip where Gruden says he's moving Carr out. Play me one sound clip. Carr is his quarterback. Where my sources? Who's his sources? Who is his sources? Wilson? Holy crap. What is this guy? Listen to a freaking volleyball? This guy's pissing me off.
You ready to go 30, huh?
Oh, my gosh.
You ready to go 30 on that, Stephen A?
He's a nut. I wouldn't turn down $100 million. Do you think Gruden needed the money?
I know, right? Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Come on.
So anyway, so there's Stephen A. So that's where kind of this thing, the genesis of this latest chapter goes. So again, you can just hear the wrong. We're not even going to address it because it's topics that we've addressed individually multiple times. But this is what Stephen A. All right. So then Mr. Smith. All right.
Yeah.
Then Mr. Smith pulls this up in terms of his analysis of the upcoming, at the time, Chiefs and Chargers game. So here's the reason that I'm doing all this, Raider Nation. These people that take these broad strokes at the Raiders are uninformed. You hear me? Way uninformed. unless it's the local guys, don't trust what they have to say. I'm not saying they're all wrong. I'm not saying they're all misinformed, but most of the time, when you hear these crazy things get thrown out there and these crazy things and all the Raiders are broke and all this and that, it's usually from these types of sources, and they're truly misinformed. And it proved itself in Stephen A's rundown of his expected matchups in the Chiefs-Chargers game. Listen to this crap.
And I'm going to have faith in Spencer Ware and thinking that, he can do some things. I'm keeping my eyes on this matchup right here.
Spencer Ware is out.
Oh, yes, I forgot. I'm sorry, Max. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he is out. But I'm thinking Tyreek Hill. I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes. I'm also looking at the San Diego Chargers on offense, and I'm thinking about Hunter Henry and the way that he's played this year and as effective as he's been. He's going up against Derek Johnson, and I got to keep my eyes on that because I'm looking at it from the standpoint. Listen, here's where I'm at with all of this. At the end of the day, I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking at Tyreek Hill. I'm looking at Travis Kelce.
All right, let's Mosh, let's go to the tail of the tape there. Okay, here's
Chevy Ray. Before you start, Chevy Raiders says that his source is Tom Hanks.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's hit the tail of the tape here. So Stephen A.
Right.
loves Hunter Henry because of the year he's having. Yeah. All right. Hunter Henry has been on injured reserve all year long. He hasn't played a snap yet in the regular season this year for the Chargers.
That's one.
The Chargers are the Los Angeles Chargers, which he refers to as the
San Diego
Chargers. That's two. He's looking forward to Spencer Ware playing in the game. Spencer Ware is out with a foot injury.
3.
So Spencer Ware. And then my absolute favorite was that Hunter Henry, supposedly, that hasn't played all year long, he's going to match up with Derek Johnson. Derek Johnson, anybody noticed? He was a Raider this year, and now he's out of the league. He's not playing for anybody.
That's a double bubble. That's 4 and 5.
Oh, I mean, yes. This guy is so complete. All right, and here's how I know he's uninformed. Okay, and here's the thing that gets me. Mosh, you and I are public speakers in real life, in our day-to-day.
Absolutely.
And here on the podcast where we come and play radio.
Sure.
We public speak. As a person who speaks publicly regularly, do you ever make a mistake?
Absolutely, and I own it every time I do it.
Exactly. You own it, and you admit the fact that, you know what, I got mixed up on my words. I stepped on my toes a little bit. I messed up. I do it on this show all the time. I referred to Randy Hansen as I don't even remember the name, Steve Hansen. Like 16 times in one episode. Like, look, it happens. You make mistakes. But for Stephen A. to make these types of mistakes, these uninformed, and then he went on Twitter and said, "Oh, I just misspoke. Oh, I was getting some of my information mixed up with that." No, you weren't. Just say you were uninformed. I would actually, as much as I can't stand this guy, I would have respect if you just came out and said, "You know what? I had a lot of other things going on that day. I didn't get a chance to study the matchup. I'm really not even that familiar with the division, and wasn't accurate in my comments, something." But instead, he said, "I misspoke. I was busy that day. I was mixing up some other things in my head. I meant to say Travis Kelce." Yeah, except Travis Kelce is a tight end for the other team. Like, I'm like, it drove me nuts, Uncle Mosh. So, all that said, you ready?
Give it to me.
Here comes Gruden. All right. So our boy Chucky comes back. And after all this stuff happened with Stephen A., our boy Chucky comes back, and they asked him about his upcoming matchup with the Bengals. And this is what John had to say.
I've heard some things in the media that are absolutely hilarious. They aren't even close. So I'm not commenting on any of that stuff. We got to get ready for Dan Ross and Boobie Clark. We got to watch out for Isaac Curtis down the middle. We got to get Tim Brown and all our receivers ready to play.
It's the best. It's the best. You get him, Coach. So for those of you that don't know, like, those are 3 Bengals players from like the 70s. And of course, you know who Timmy Brown is. But so that is awesome. Coach says, I'm not going to comment on it. We got to get ready for Boobie Clark.
Oh my God. That's class right there, buddy.
Yes.
That was brilliance.
Absolutely.
I love
That's knowing the game.
Yep.
That's the
Yep.
difference between someone like Stephen A. and someone like John Gruden. He knows the game. And I'll tell you what, and I'm going to give props to two other parties involved in this thing. On the backlash, one, I don't give props to Chargers very often, but the Los Angeles Chargers on their Twitter feed had this to say: LaDainian Tomlinson, Dan Fouts, and Lance Allworth are all out for the upcoming game. Which was great.
Did they really say
They did, yeah. And Derek Johnson says, dang, I was ready to go too.
Oh my God. So funny.
So funny. So great job on the good troll. Back at him. Coach Gruden, that will be the last time you hear Mr. A. Smith's name mentioned on our show. He's up there with the quarterback that wears 17, that actor that acted with Wilson.
Oh, I don't know. That's some of those are way too funny.
That's true.
That's true. We might bring that fool back.
Oh, man. So there you go, Raider Nation. Don't believe the mainstream media, especially not the countdown shows. All right, one last thing I want to get to, Mosh, then we're going to get to the Sea of Fans. We're running a little bit late, so just give me a quick...
Hey, hang on just a second. This
Okay.
just in from somebody that will be playing this Sunday.
Okay.
Nobody enjoyed a good Donnybrook more than sixth-year linebacker Phil Villapiano.
This is Phil Villapiano, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio.
Hall of Fame be damned. He's suiting up.
He's suiting up. So Phil's starting this week. Yeah, absolutely. And so let's see. So we're playing the Broncos. So we need to get ready for what? Terrell Davis. I don't know. Give me. I don't even like think about Sammy Winder, right? Steve Atwater patrolling the secondary.
Maybe they'll get all the horse tooth down there in a shirt.
Yeah. Hey, watch out for that Carl Mecklenburg. He's been a handful this year. All right. So let's skip that last one there, Mosh. You want to just go straight to Sea of Fans, man? Let's go to it.
Let's go. Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
There he is, baiting, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he throws. It is. He caught it.
All right, Raider Nation, the favorite part of our show is hearing you, and to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of us one of two ways. You can email us, show@RaidersFanRadio.com, or you can call the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, which is 909-345-3346. Those are the absolute best ways to get a hold of us here. I try to respond to Twitter messages, Facebook messages to our profiles, Facebook messages to Murf Fan Cave, Facebook messages to Raiders Fan Radio, Instagram. Like we're all over the place, and because we're all over the place, there's lots of ways to get a hold of us. And sometimes I just can't keep up. But I always keep up with the Sea of Fans mailbag, both by email and by phone call. So definitely get us those messages that way if you got something to let us know. And really, then it lets Raider Nation know too. I mean, as much as I love our interaction and as much as I love hearing from you all in those direct messages, it's nice to be able to share your message with Raider Nation because we have so many great takes. There's so many great points out there, Uncle Mosh, that it's nice to hear that from Raider Nation. So when you do call in, you got a 3-minute window on Google Voice, so don't fall victim to the cutoff there. And the shorter and more concise we make those messages, also the more we can fit in on the show. And we have a bunch this week. So let's get to it without further ado. Uncle Mosh is going to start us off with some emails.
So our buddy Paul in Shropshire, UK, Mississippi, says, what a whirlwind it's been the last 10 days or so. And I can totally agree with that. He says, starting off with, we beat the Squealers, then Reggie gets fired, then the city of Oakland sues us and the NFL. Then Raiders Fan Radio has a breakfast show. Uncle Mosh, he goes on to say, dude, there was somebody sitting in your chair, man. Yeah, we touched on that a little bit. Seriously, though, it was a breakfast treat. Even if it was 4 p.m. over here, Kevin the Raider Nerd was excellent. Then, he talks about the game on Sunday. He thought we had a W wrapped up, but it was another frustrating day for us. But you know what? We're kind of used to that. Keep rolling, Raiders. Keep rolling with the punches. We knew the problems hadn't gone away just yet because we beat Pittsburgh. Bring on the donkeys, and hopefully we can get a healthy O-line, and that'll be their ruin for our holidays. Best wishes to you and to all your families, and a happy Christmas period. Shout out to all Raider Nation for the festivities as well. Stay happy, healthy, happy folks. Regards, Paul Egerton from Shropshire, UK, Mississippi.
Good job, Paul. Thank you very much for the emails. As always, great emails. And yeah, man, the game against the Donks, Mosh, there are a lot of rivals of the excuse me, Diet Dr. Pepper's getting hold of me there. There are a lot of rivals of our football team. There is everyone in our division. There's the Steelers. There is the Niners. There is the Patriots. You could make an argument for the Cowboys, their franchise rivalry, because of Jerry Jones modeling so much of what he did after Al. There's a lot of teams you could refer to as rivals. And the Donkeys are mine. I can't we don't hate anything. But even more than the guy that wears 17 and even more than the Chiefs, man, the Donks are the team for me because of just the there's a lot of reasons, a lot of family reasons. We have family that's...
No, we don't want to talk about that.
No,
the holidays are coming up.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but I mean, just so like when the Donkeys were good, like those fans gloated and our team was terrible. And so like, there's a lot of reasons why I don't like the Donks, man. It winds me up, man, thinking about this football team, and nothing would be sweeter, Mosh. I'm pounding the desk on this thing. Nothing would be sweeter than beating them on Christmas Eve the last time ever in Oakland. Like, this could set up to be a pretty poetic game, and they're bad. They're not any better than we are.
They're beatable, buddy.
They're beatable. They're going to fire their head coach at the end of this year. They're not a very good football team. They got Case Keenum, really? Like, how did that guy end up with a contract anyways? There's so many things about this football team. Philip Lindsay's a nice story, but outside of that, man, I can't stand the freaking Broncos, man.
They're the worst.
Oh, they're the worst. So we got to beat the Broncos, man. So I'm with you, Paul, man. Hopefully we get this O-line thing figured out. It's going to be look, they got pass rushers, man, so it's going to be a struggle. But anyways, I digress, Mosh.
And now for something completely different.
So, Murph, we get asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
We get asked a lot of we get asked for advice. We get asked for our opinions. We get asked what we're drinking, what we're wearing, what we're spitting, we get asked a lot. Well, this one's a new one. This is a new one, and we're gonna take this to the fans.
Yeah.
We're gonna take this to the fans. We're gonna have it's not really a contest. It's a help a brother out kind of thing.
It's an advice column.
It's an advice column.
This is Dear Moshy.
So it starts like this. It says, Murf and Mosh. Email is for visuals. No way can I communicate this via voicemail. My wonderful wife, Libby, has finally agreed to let me get my Raider tattoo for Christmas. I'm, of course, leaning toward the all black, but there's a few to choose from. I'd like some input from Raider Nation. Please see the attached and let me know what you think. Just win, baby. Very respectfully, Joe Cantrell, Lieutenant, thank you for your service, United States Navy. Well, Joe sent me a list of tats. I'm going to put it up on,
you got
on
it.
the
Okay,
camera.
All right. There you go.
And there's some great choices. Now, on our opening credits for the YouTube, we scroll, and there's a bunch of folks that have Raider tats. You got an outstanding Raider tat.
Thank you.
We're all about Raider tats. What we want Raider Nation to do is we want Raider Nation to send us pictures that we'll post on our website of great Raider tats. And, of course, there's things that we need to know. Joe, is this going on?
He wants one recommendation on those.
Right. But what I'm saying is it going on your forearm? Is it going on the inside? Is it going on your bicep? Is it a back piece? Is it a chest piece?
Right,
is it one on each pec?
That's true, and that's important. And I tell you why. And that I can't show them. I got a long sleeve shirt on today. You guys have seen it. You've seen the pictures. But one of the things that when I got my Raider tattoo, it doesn't say Raiders. It's the shield with the skull and the pirate with the eye patch and everything. And mine was a cover up too, so mine had a little bit different strategy there with placement and whatnot and size and everything. But one of the things that is tricky with tattoos is that when you get things written like in script, it looks great, and because it's going to bleed over time. It's going to, even if you get the best absolute tattoo and you have a phenomenal artist and everything else, it's just because the nature of it, it's just going to tend to bleed. Well, when you get things written like the word Raiders, like this word Raiders, it's going to bleed out. Or same thing if you get it where if you get the black and you leave the void where it says Raiders, it's going to bleed in. So just keep that stuff in mind when you're kicking around ideas for your Raider tattoo. And that was, and I have a lot of tattoo pictures that that we'll share back with you. But that would just be one piece of advice that I would give on it, Mosh, is that expect it, plan for it to change over time and build that into account for your whatever it is you decide to do.
And Joe says he's going to get it on the inside of his forearm, just under his Navy Chief tattoo.
Oh, that's legit.
So that's totally legit, man. So, if I'm him, I'm cutting out little pieces, man, and I'm sticking them on there and wearing them for the day,
Yeah.
I want to see how it's going to look, how it's going to feel.
I like, just remember, like, when you go with I like a lot of voids, but I like a lot of detail, though, with the voids, though. So I would like to give you an example of, like, let's see, we got one here. So I like, out of these ones that you've sent, I like the old school, this one, Mosh. Like, I like the one with that one right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's the old, from the 60s. Oops, I didn't have it on the camera there. That one, it's that one right there. The one from the 60s. It's a great looking tattoo, and I almost got that one.
And one of the reasons I like that one, I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was the Raider Critique. He says his letters are fine. And something like that, where it's the void is the letters.
Yes.
That's the way to go.
Exactly.
So that's something to think about, Mojo. That's worth it.
Absolutely. So anyway, so hope we were able to help a little bit there. So
hey, we got to roll.
We got a boogie. All right. So let's go to our first audio call and let's hear from our buddy Houston Raider Steve.
Hey, Murf Uncle Mosh, this is Houston Raider Steve. I just saw Steve Young up there on ESPN saying that Ben Roethlisberger was the most improved or advanced or some kind of player, and I thought, wait a minute, didn't we just beat his keister over there in Oakland? He can't even beat Derek Carr, and he says he's the most improved. What is it? Is Steve Young on the consulting basis for the lawsuit against the city of Oakland? He never has anything positive ever to say about the Raiders. He's always acting condescending, arrogant. Oh, by the way, does that kind of sound like the 49er fans in general? Well, I can't say every single 49er fan, but like we saw the sign at the game, black and silver sign, there's only one nation. It's Raider Nation, baby. Yeah, Steve Young, you're the reason why I don't watch ESPN anymore. Because you guys, you're a freaking idiot if you think that he's the most improved player and Derek Carr went head to head and beat his sorry butt. Please, give me a break. Spare me. Gag me with a spoon. I'm out.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna give this one to you, but I just want to note he did say gag me with a spoon. That was solid.
And he also said keister.
That was solid.
I wrote both of those down.
Because the Sizzler Award.
Yeah,
so cover that.
Yeah.
Cover that much.
So the hottest take of the day gets the Sizzler Award. And so I take notes during these. But anyway, so I got keister and gag me with a spoon. But I got it figured out. Steve Young is Stephen A. Smith's source. Let's move on to Wyoming Raider.
Mosh, Murf, Wyoming Raider here. Yeah, I missed last week's call-in date, so I just wanted to call in, touch base, and show a little respect for our new capo. Well played, brother. You earned it. We beat the Steelers. That was freaking awesome. You guys pretty well covered that. I don't think I need to touch that more. We got Cincinnati coming up. The Bengals ain't. We got that one. That'll be no problem. After that, we got the Donkeys. I'm going to call ahead and call right now. I say we go on a two-game winning streak. Wanted to throw one more thing by you. Reggie, you're out. I appreciate everything you did for us. Once a Raider, always a Raider. You got us out of a hole. That was great. But it's time to move on. So here's my vote. Let's get Phil Villapiano in there. You imagine? You get Phil checking the heart of everybody before they put on that revered black jersey. Man, I tell you what, you give me 53 guys with Phil's heart playing them, man, we kill some people next year. Anyway, if I don't call in before then, I hope everybody in Raider Nation has a happy holidays or, whatever you guys are celebrating. Have a good friends, family, health, happiness, all that good stuff. And go Raiders.
All right, great call. Good to hear from Wyoming Raiders. So interesting, Mosh. He tongue-in-cheek says we should get Phil in there, but this is one of the reasons that the Raiders have always had a tradition of bringing back the former players. We talked to Pete Koch at length about that this year, about all the Raiders legends that were around for training camp. And I think that there's an element to this. I mean, we know Phil was there. We know LaMonica was there. We know a lot of these guys were there at training camp. And don't you think that's part of Gruden's reason for bringing these guys back, is to kind of, suss out maybe a disposition like Amari Cooper?
Sure,
you know what I mean?
sure.
To find out maybe that you start to get a read on guys like that when they're around these greats that are coming back for things, something like training camp.
And that's the whole, that we talked about this at nauseum about rebuilding of the culture, and that's part of it, is bringing those dynasties, those people that were part of that. It wears off. It's contagious, man.
Absolutely. All right, Mosh, let's go to this is a fun call. So this is Diego in Georgia, but I'm pretty sure he's on a forklift.
Hey, what's up, Murf Uncle Mosh? This is Diego. I'm at work right now, scanning crap. I just want to call to say what's up. I know it already passed, but the win was pretty good. I didn't get to watch it because I live in Georgia and I don't have the Sunday ticket or whatever. Yeah, so what I wanted to ask is when losing my train of thought being at work. Anyway, I'm going to Nashville. I want to know, I'm staying in the Gulch, what's a cool place to go to? And that's about it. That's all I got to say until next time when we win, and then I'll have something to say again. All right, take care, guys.
All right, so thank you for Diego for calling the show. Appreciate you not interrupting your work schedule there, and so yes, to give you advice on where to go in Nashville. Always, if you're gonna be at the, you always got to go downtown, Mosh. Right? That's the first. Everything's when you come and visit Nashville, Music City. Everything starts and stops on Broadway, 2nd Avenue. Go downtown. Go have a beer at
Park
Tootsie's.
your car and Uber all around. It's cheap in Nashville. Everything's close. I'm not going to even begin to tell you where to go because we're inundated with it. There is so much. He can't not find a rocking spot in the Gulch, man.
Absolutely.
It's full of it.
It's full of it. Absolutely. So we're going to have a blast in terms of the draft. For those of you, and we're just kind of, we have our thoughts and our wheels have been turning about the draft, but things are starting to piece together a little bit as far as kind of who we're linking up with and what spots are going to be available to us and attending what events. And they still haven't announced like where they're going to announce the draft picks and like where the different things specifically are going to be going on. So we're in a little bit of a holding pattern, but for those of you that are coming to Nashville, we are definitely going to have a listener meetup and live broadcast of Raiders Fan Radio and all that good stuff. So to Diego and anybody else that's coming through to Nashville for the draft upcoming, which is quickly approaching. We're talking about the end of April, so we're 4 months away from the draft. Definitely, we're gonna link up, and we hear from people pretty often too, Mosh, about kind of getting together with us and watching a game and whatnot. Well, how about getting together with us and doing a show?
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time for the draft.
We'll go down to King Louis Taco Shack and do a remote.
There you go. Absolutely.
Hey.
You might have just had the best idea ever right there.
Yeah, I'm serious.
That is a very cool idea. We might have to do that. Anyway, so definitely stay tuned as we get closer and closer to the draft. And that's going to happen here in Nashville. All right, let's hear from, I believe, a new caller to the show, Uncle Mosh. This is Ruben.
Hey, guys. Ruben, DNA, Texas, Cali, living in Las Vegas now. Just came across your guys' show on YouTube. Uncle Mosh and Murf, big fan. Go Raiders.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Ruben.
Nice.
Appreciate you calling.
To the point, man.
Yeah. In and out, man.
Gave us his lineage and said, hey, I'm in.
And found us on the YouTubes.
I love it. On the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes. How about it? So appreciate you, Ruben. Thank you for calling and checking in. And thanks for holding down Raider Nation in Vegas, man. I'll bet it's an exciting time to be to living in Las Vegas, man. That's and being a Raider fan, man. That's pretty cool stuff. All right, so Uncle Mosh, so if you call the show 3 times and or at least if you get your voicemail played on the show 3 times, we refer to you as a made man, and we have 2 this week and I missed one. So I'm going to play him first. And it happens, man. It happens. It's happened a couple times.
You ain't Stephen A. You're going to own it.
I'm gonna own it. Absolutely. I made a mistake and I missed this guy the first time he made his third call. So we're gonna call this the third call 2.0, and I'm talking about our buddy Alex in Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, this is Alex Sandoval from Tucson, Arizona. I read something really interesting, and I wanted to know your guys' thoughts on it. I'm reading this post from NBCSports.com, and I see that Calvin Watkins, I'm not sure who that is, but supposedly Calvin Watkins had a conversation with Amari Cooper, and he revealed to him that it was actually Mark Davis who wanted him gone and not John Gruden, and it was Mark Davis who wanted to trade him to the Cowboys. And I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to know what you guys thought about that. Thank you. All right, have a nice day. Bye.
All right, great call there. Appreciate you checking in here on Raiders Fan Radio. So, yeah, that topic kind of came up last week, and there was a few things around that, and I think it revealed to me a couple of things. That number one, John Gruden has not gone rogue, and he's not acting individually in terms of the personnel or anything else that's going on with this football team. It is definitely in conjunction with, at the time, probably Reggie McKenzie and Mark Davis, and definitely Mark Davis as well. But Mosh, I think what's interesting about this is that, you know, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes, and especially in terms of a relationship with agents. And look, Mark Davis is still a Davis, and he's not going to let some agent hold him up to signing in the player, and especially not the progression of this football team. And Joel Siegel did just that in the negotiations with Khalil Mack. Joel Siegel also represents Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was inconsistent at best, still is. Despite the glowing reviews of his play, he disappears once in a while, just like he did this last week. So after all this stuff that happened and the heel turn and all that, Amari Cooper went away once again. So anyways, knowing that he was that type of a player and that he had a potentially $17 million payday coming up, the Raiders said, bye-bye.
Yeah, and Raider Homer brings up a good point on the chat. He says, Mark Davis will not be hustled.
Absolutely.
It's not going to happen.
Great point, Homer. Absolutely. So that's kind of what my feelings are on it, and and our feelings on it. And yeah, I don't think anybody is gonna get one over on the Raiders anymore, man. And I don't think they necessarily ever have, but it's certainly not going to happen now under this regime with Mr. Mark Davis. All right, next up, let's go to another made man. This guy's had awesome calls now 3 weeks in a row. So congratulations, and we're going to play the music for you after this call. And welcome to the team. Welcome to being a made man here on Raiders Fan Radio, Florida Raider.
Hey, Murf, Mosh, what's up, guys? Florida Raider calling. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the Sizzle Award last week. I appreciate the recognition. Second, I just want to start off by going on a little rant about this NFL and the NFL offices. And I don't know exactly how they pick the Pro Bowl guys, but to leave Rodney Hudson off of it is just ridiculous. The guy leads in almost every statistical category. I think he's first in pass protection. He's like sixth in run blocking. He's hasn't let up a sack this year. His attitude has been great. And to play for a losing team and still put up them kind of numbers and have the attitude that he has, it's just ridiculous. As far as Cook goes, that's another one. I think he's got I know he has more catches and more yards than Eric Ebron, who's also having a good year. But I mean, Cook's attitude has been great this year in a losing cause. I just think this NFL, they just give these gas bags on TV more ammunition to just, kick dirt on us. But you know what? The season's almost over and we survived. We all survived. And I tell you the truth, I've never really had such optimism looking forward to a following year after the season we had. With all these guys with one season under the belt, Gruden and Gunther, and the younger guys that have one full season under the belt. I think the outlook is great for next year and the year after. And I'd like to see all these talking heads on TV just eat some crow. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a great holiday. Everybody out there in Raiderland, happy holidays, and just look forward to next year. It's going to be a good one, and things are definitely heading in the right direction. So they can try to take all the wind out of our sails if they want, but it ain't going to happen. It's a bright future ahead of us. So everybody have a good Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, whatever you want to celebrate.
Absolutely. Thank you, Florida Raider. And so real quick, Mosh, before we hit the made music, I want to respond to something that he had to say. You know, one of the topics that's been hot today and over the since it's been announced has been the Pro Bowl vote, or the announcement of the Pro Bowl teams. The Raiders have been snubbed once again. There is no Pro Bowlers. We have alternates on the roster. Jared Cook, Rodney Hudson, and Kelechi Osemele have all been named as alternates. And you know what? It really bothers me. And I would like to go 30 with the Pro Bowl voting, but also, does it really matter? I mean, the Pro Bowl voting is not like what it is, what the baseball all-star game might be. And, you know, Mosh, there's always somebody that gets snubbed. And look, he mentioned, you know, Jared Cook. And of course, you know, Travis Kelce has better numbers, but Jared Cook has better numbers than Eric Ebron. So both, you know, it's absolutely a snub that Jared Cook doesn't make it there. And then we're talking about Rodney Hudson. Look, we've been banging that drum all year long, despite how the horrible play of our offensive line at times. This guy has not given up a sack all year long. He ranks first in the league in pass blocking and sixth in run blocking, Uncle Mosh. And both the Pouncey brothers that were named in and ahead of him, neither one of them rank as high as he does on any of these statistics. And so it's clearly him being let off the list. And I think it's just a reflection of the quote dysfunction or the win-loss record that's perceived in the media. What do you think?
You know, if the Pro Bowl meant as much as the NFL, as the sports writers, the people that vote folks in, think it does in their own little brains, why do the players snub the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, how many has Tom Brady played in?
What, 3?
I think it's 2.
Is it 2?
In like 15 of them?
2 of 15. It blows my mind that we put the importance on that when it's a joke. It's a joke. If there's something else on TV, you know, if they're running that Heidi rerun, drives me nuts.
You know,
and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Please.
But it's just this. It's us against the world. It always has been. It always will be. And I'm okay with it. How long did it take to get the snake in the Hall of Fame?
All right. Yeah.
You know, come on.
Yeah. Great point. You know, and in terms of recent highlights, you know, Derek Carr dropped the dime to T.Y. Hilton in the back of the end zone. I don't remember what year it was, the year that the first team made the Pro Bowl. And like, that was kind of fun, but I'm with you though. It's not a great watch. And so, you know, look, no surprise, but it's worth acknowledging, but I don't think it's worth getting worked up for. You know what I mean?
You know what's better than the Pro Bowl?
What's that?
When you put together next week a tailgating too much that features side by side the brothers, Wyoming Raider and Florida Raider.
Oh,
when you put together a tailgating too much,
let me take more notes here.
You know that's good. Now that's good listening right there.
But Wyoming Raiders been in once before though.
That's okay. That's okay. This is coming direct from Capo.
Okay.
You know, it's a request, and I'm going on that, and I'm throwing in because Florida Raider, he kills me, man, and they're just great. They're twin brothers from different mothers, and it's great, man.
Absolutely. Well, and now they are both made men. So congratulations to Alex in Tucson and also Florida Raider. Welcome to the club. You are now made men here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Oh, you know why we're here. So if you got any doubts or reservations, now's the time.
That's the wrong one. That's the wrong made clip. That's the one that's got the dang copyright. All right, let's go.
Let me read.
You do emails, and then I'll get back to you.
All right. So we got Running Bear, another one of our guys that we get some absolutely fantastic sound bites and stuff. He sent us an email and he says, "Hey Murf and Mosh, you all do such a great job. I'm thankful that you do all the things you do. Merry Christmas to you both and all the rest of Raider Nation. I'm proud to be a fan of the Raiders. I will take this team over any we have had the last few years, and here is why. Look how John Feliciano and Gabe Jackson played that last drive, both on bum legs, neither willing to leave the game. Then when Feliciano could not walk off, who was there to get him off the field but Carr? Now that's the sign of a true leader. They all might not be the best players, but I see more grit, more fire, more toughness than I have seen, well, the last time Gruden coached us. As far as the Oakland politicians go, they are no worse than the rest of California's politicians.
Ooh, hey now.
To me, they are like the player we let go this year. No heart, no loyalty to the Raiders. The Raiders did not need them, and we don't need the Oakland politicians either. We are a long ways from being where I'd like to be, but we have a great set of players to build around. We have heart, we have loyalty, and we have toughness. I'd rather have those types of players. God bless Murf Mosh and all of Raider Nation. Tim Moat, Running Bear.
Awesome. Great job, Tim. Thank you for the, absolutely. Thank you for the email there. And, we talked about that a little bit last week about the leadership skills that Carr is starting to show. And, not only let's highlight that about what Carr did there, Mosh, but also the grit and toughness there of Mongo, and then also Gabe Jackson, who sadly Gabe Jackson is now on IR for the rest of the year, but the guy could not extend his arm all the way because of his elbow injury, and that's kind of important when you're playing offensive line to be able to extend your arm. The guy couldn't do it, and he gritted it out and played the rest of the game. So, man, this Raider team and the toughness we're starting to show is absolutely top-notch. Great stuff. All right, I found the clip, so let's play that, but real quick before I even do that, let's give you the running tally of the made men. So as far as made men here on Raiders Fan Radio, we got Jimmy Zebach, Johnny in San Diego, Crickets. What happened to Johnny in San Diego? I don't know where that guy is. If Johnny, if you still listen to the show, hit us up, man. We haven't heard from you in forever. Chuck Splatterhead McCann, Ron in Ohio, the Dakota Raider, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Red in Yakima, Jim on the East Coast, Yayo, Big Raider Trucker, Wyoming Raider, Diego in Georgia, Running Bears, Uncle Mosh just read his email, Mojo Raider, Junior in San Diego, Monster Mash, Ken, Steve in Houston, Jesse in Kentucky, B-Dog in a pasture, Max in San Diego, Alex in Tucson, and Alberto in Los Angeles. So congratulations to the two new made men on Raiders Fan Radio.
You are a made man. You showed you are part of the family by participation. By chance, a man like yourself should make enemies, then they would become my enemies. Showing you are a friend of Raiders Fan Radio, you have leapt across the line. Friendship is everything. Friendship is more than talent. It is more than the government. It's almost equal to family. Be loyal. Made man, Raider fan. Someday, and that day may never come, I'll call upon you to do a service for me. But until that day, accept this as a gift. And don't ever forget, words can hurt more, but silence can break hearts.
All right, Uncle Mosh, you got another email there for us?
I do. I got an email here. Pardon me. I got all choked up. It's a great email. It starts off, it says, hey, Murf, Mosh, I love the show. I'm a diehard Raiders fan for the last 40 years. I survived the Tuck rule game, and he doesn't spell it's just a little misspelling.
A little typo?
A little typo. He spelled it with an F instead of a T. Anyway, he said he was in a game in a Pat's bar in New England, and it was during his college years. And he says, yes, my saber tongue was lashing rats left and right. Then I was escorted out with my silver and black pride in my hands and a fist full of Chinese rip-off rat jerseys. Anyway, graphic design illustration is my passion and trade. I'm blessed to work for such clients as the No Fun League, ESPN, NASCAR, NBA, MLB, and many other consumer brands. I've attached some of my Raider Nation art. Murf, I know you are a comic fan like me, and I've attached Raider Wage War Machine. Frosty Rucker gave it some love on Instagram. I have even attached some fan art for Mikey, the Raider Truther, LOL. I have a series going called the Black Hole Fan Series on Instagram. That'd be great. I need to check it out.
Yeah.
And attached are some love to those diehard Black Hole super fans as well. I love the show. The only just win, Johnny Hieroglyphics. So he's got some really cool stuff. We'll put it on the site. You'll put it on the site.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's he's got some really cool stuff. I'll hold it up here in front of the camera for those watching to see. And anyway, it's
So he's
really,
got a Deadpool there. He's got a Gorilla Rilla, and he's got an On Air Nation for Mikey's channel. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So he's got some good stuff, and this brings me up to something that we needed to talk about.
Yes,
really quick.
speaking of graphic design, right? Yep.
And you and I are not graphic designers.
No.
We play radio.
Play radio.
And we have fun with it. I don't know whether we're good at it or what, but we have fun.
We're loud enough.
We're loud enough. We got a faithful bunch of folks. We got capos. We got made men. We're happy where we are.
Yes.
But we got a lot of you that ask for T-shirts. So we're in the design process for making T-shirts, and you and I are trying to do whatever we do with the computers and trying to make T-shirts like our last ones. We're going to make them a little bit different this time. We need help.
Yeah. We need help.
So, hey, Mr. Graphic Designer, email us. If you want to throw some help our way, that'd be great. And we're not asking for a freebie, but we ain't got no money. We got no budget.
No, we don't make any money on Raiders Fan Radio.
Our hobby costs us.
That's exactly
but
right.
The good news is when we order shirts this time, we're going to get shirts that fit us.
We're going big boy shirts this time.
I'm not ordering any smalls. I'm going to order a handful of mediums because there's wives out there.
Yes.
And if your wife needs a small, she needs ravioli. Okay? So, and I know your kids, but your kids are going to grow.
Yeah,
They need to sport that shirt. So we're going to get some big ones. We're going to get some big ones for the big guys, the 3Xs and 4Xs. We're going to be able to do – we're not doing it for us. We don't make any money on them.
No.
We're doing it because we like to see the pictures, man, with our peeps out there sporting our shirts.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk with him.
I hope so. Just when Johnny hit us up, man, since we started doing the slideshow, which was your idea, by the way, which was a great idea, to share the pictures of people wearing our logoed shirts. I've gotten a bunch of requests or questions. Where can I get a shirt? Well, we've been out for a long time, and we were going to kind of get one for this season. And again, we don't do this stuff as a moneymaker, so it just kind of fell down the priority list. But we've gotten enough requests now that we hear you. We're going to get them, and we're going to get them big because we've got a lot of big boy requests for shirts, and so we're going to address that. And so, yes, if the Just Win Johnny or any of the else of you want to help us out with the graphic design portion of this, much appreciated, because that's not what we do. You know what I mean?
Send us an email with your choice on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd have a contest and send you a shirt, but we don't have any shirts.
Absolutely. But great email from Johnny. Thank you very much. And again, love the name. I told you that last time when you called. Love the name, Just Win Johnny. All right, Uncle Mosh. So another made man here on Raiders Fan Radio is the man we gave respect to kick off the show, and that is Kevin, the Raider Nerd. And Kevin called us live from the tailgate in Cincinnati, and this is a great call. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Hey, Murf. Hey, Uncle Mosh. Raider Fans Radio. This is Kevin, the Raider Nerd, here live at the Oakland Raiders tailgate. Everybody say Raiders! Raiders! Hey, come on over here. We got Gorilla Rilla. Say hi to Uncle Mosh and Murf.
I love you guys. Much love from the Black Hole, baby. Just win.
Yeah, there you go, guys. We will give you an update later on. But we are here with Oakland Raiders live at Paul Brown Stadium, ready to pillage the jungle. Thanks again for having me on early there, Mr. Murf. Mosh, thanks for letting me sit in your seat. We'll give you guys a call after the game. Raider Nation, baby!
Very cool. Thank you, Kevin, the Raider Nerd, hanging out with Gorilla Rilla there and getting a shout out.
Nice.
For Raiders Fan Radio from Gorilla Rilla, Mosh. That was pretty cool,
was
huh?
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
I would let Gorilla Rilla sit in my chair.
Right? A violator, right?
Yeah,
there's a handful of people, right, that could
there's a couple.
be allowed. Yeah, Kevin. And Kevin was the first of the super fans to adorn the southern annex of the Murf Uncle Mosh.
I might be a little burnt about no, I'm okay. I'm okay that Kevin was in my chair.
Probably would have been nice if I would have ran it by you first.
It's okay. You have one chair in your house that I'm comfortable in.
I know.
And you let some other guy sit in it.
Well, it's not like he hung out and watched the game, Mosh. He did the show. Oh, maybe that's worse. I don't know. Sorry.
God, that didn't help.
All right, let's go to next caller here, and we're going to hear from our buddy Monster Mash. Speaking of people that give us stuff, I got to show it, right?
Yeah.
I got to promote Ken because he's awesome. Ken is the creator of Lil Murf, and he is the proprietor of Monster Mash Custom Action Figures. Find him on Facebook and order something from him. He's a great guy.
Murf, Uncle Mosh, Lil Murf. This is Monster Mash Ken. Ooh, what a rough game. Those games we got to win. Regardless of what our record is and who we are, if there was a better quarterback in there, we would have got demolished. He missed a lot of throws, a lot of wide open throws, and that's on him. That wasn't on our defense. That was all him. And we just no pass. I don't even know. There's so many things you can just point out, and I don't think we need to waste time doing it. I think next week's game against the Broncos on Christmas Eve, that's the one I kind of want to talk about. Man, we got to win that game. Like to salvage our season's mentality for all the fans, we got to win that game. And I actually looked into flights. They're pretty expensive from New York, and my wife would literally kill me if I went. I wouldn't be able to come back. In time for Christmas Day and our daughter's first Christmas, Lily. It's our first Christmas there with her. But anyway, I'll be supporting and holding it down from the East Coast, and we got to win that game. That's it. No excuses. Another thing too, I just noticed, we got guys like Waller, who nobody ever heard from, and Jordy Nelson and Seth Roberts. That's what we're working with on our offense? I don't know. I mean, Cook is great and all. I don't know what happened. They just took him out of the game, or I don't know what happened this whole game. But it's not an out for Derek. But and he can't play on his back. Obviously, he's getting hit, but we just got to give him some playmakers. We got to give some consistency on that side of on the wide receiver end, and it's just not fair to watch these other teams that just score at will and they move the ball at will, and we just struggle. And anyway, two things. Thanks for that. Good morning, Raider Nation. That was a great call. Loved it with Kev, and I noticed that you guys are hopefully coming out for the New York game. If that's what the schedule comes out to be, I will love to watch Raider football with you guys. I'm gonna try to figure something out because I know the PJFF guys are thinking about it too, and I'm gonna talk to Chuck, and hopefully we can kind of organize something and just have a great time with all the Raider Nation from all over the country in New York, because it's the best city in the world. Also, I'm going to try to get down for the draft. I think I'm like 90% sure I'm going to try to get down there and just, we got 3 draft picks. It's going to be the start of a new era. Anyway, let's look on to next week, and I think we can beat these Broncos. Got to do it. All right. Even if Uncle Mosh needs to throw on his old Howie Long jersey and go out there and start tackling them. All right, guys. Merry Christmas. If I don't talk to you, take care. Bye.
And now for something completely different.
Ken. You are a great caller. You talked about Derek can't make the passes from his back. You talked about the help we need. You talked about New York. You talked about, oh my gosh, so much. You talked about Little Murf. We love to give you shout-outs. Ken, take it from a guy that spent so much money over a period of years in divorce court. Do not miss that baby's first Christmas.
For a Raider game.
Brother, I love the Raiders. I love my Raiders. Ken. I'm so thankful your wife does not listen to this podcast. Great call, Ken. Appreciate you.
Great call. That was awesome. Yes, and Merry Christmas, Ken, and Happy Hanukkah to you and your family.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, man, supporting Raiders Fan Radio. And so, Mosh and I, we kind of really just for the first time kicked it around tonight. So the way the schedule works out is that if the Raiders finish in last place, when the Raiders finish in last place, they will match up against the team that finishes in last place of the AFC East. And so the team that right now looks like it's going to finish last in the AFC East is the New York Jets, which means we will play at the New York Jets this year. We are a long way away from figuring out what our travel plans are going to be and what game we'll go to this year. But I can tell you this, a New York game will be on my short list of want-tos.
Yeah.
I definitely have want-tos. Now, it all depends on where it falls in the schedule and, you know what I mean, and whatnot, and around what, Uncle Mosh and I, because of our work schedules and whatnot, I don't know if we're going to be able to go or not. Well, we would certainly love to. I would love to meet up with you and the New York guys and the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole and go to a Raiders-Jets game. Speaking of rivals of the Raiders,
right.
That would be amazing to go see them play at the Jets. That would be.
You know how much good food there is?
Oh.
There is so much good food on the East Coast.
So much. The guys in the Fan Club Blitz were talking about pizza and talking about how good their pizza is. And we're not pizza experts.
We've never met a pie we didn't like.
Right, but we make our own dough and we do our own thing and make as far as making pizza goes. So we're pretty good at recognizing good pizza, but I fully understand where you're coming from, that New York has the best pizza, and it's amazing. And so, yes, I'll never forget, I had a calzone at freaking Grand Central Station one time from just a little, like a kiosk thing. Holy cow, Uncle Mosh. That almost knocked me over. It's so freaking good. Yeah. And I'm talking about a calzone at a kiosk at a bus station or train station.
Yeah.
And it's freaking like some of the best food you ever had in your whole life.
Oh, I'm with you.
It's amazing. Anyway, so thank you, Ken. And hopefully schedules will link up. We'll certainly find out. Right now, we're kind of draft mode. Like, we're just trying to get all that stuff figured out as far as next steps for us. So if you're coming into town for the draft, stay tuned, because we will definitely have some meetups and some things going on. All right, next up, let's go hear from our buddy Alberto in Los Angeles.
It's Alberto from LA. Decide what I'm going to call myself, my Raider name. Raider Bethel. Anyway, this game is to show you how much we're lacking at O-line. You know, I keep hearing people are like, we should have drafted Derwin James and et cetera. Cole Miller's trash. Brandon Parker's trash. Well, what would have happened if we didn't draft Colton Miller and we got Derwin James? Donald Penn would have still been out. There's no left tackle there. So, we have no depth at O-line. Wouldn't be surprised, we'll get a couple guards from the draft. At least maybe another tackle. I don't know. Yeah, defense, Eric Harris got an interception. I'm liking his defense because the Raiders have been forcing turnovers since the Charger game in Oakland. Every game we've had a turnover, so I'm like, it's nice, better than last year's defense. And still no sacks, but I think we'll get that figured out next year. But offense is lacking again, just to show that we gotta start running the ball more. But I don't know why we can run the ball. But either way, I wanted to mention I always ask myself this question: why am I a Raiders fan? There's two teams in LA. I can easily be those LA Rams or a LA Charger. Want to be LA teams. Either way, I realize why I'm a Raider fan. It's second nature to me. When I growing up, I grew up in a American football household. I grew up on soccer, and even then, the Raiders was just always my team. If someone asked me, "Hey, do you watch football?" I'm like, "No," but who's your team then? The Raiders. Even then, even before I started watching football. So it's the Raiders is just second nature to me. It's like an instinct. That's my team. If I know nothing about the Raiders or nothing about the NFL, I'd probably pick the Raiders again. So, Raiders all day. Just gotta keep in Vegas. Oh, you know what? I would love them to go to San Diego, because let's say the Raiders make a little run, I'm Raider drunk too, so you know what I'm saying? They make a run and the Raiders become the first team in San Diego to win a Super Bowl. Can you imagine that? Oh, I would love that. But either way, Raiders still die.
All right, good job, Alberto. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, I would kind of love to watch them play in San Diego. Kevin made mention that a lot of times we refer to San Diego as South Oakland because we take over that stadium anyways.
Yeah.
And our buddy Mojo earlier this week on our Facebook page said that if we do play down there, that he's got a couple couches with our names on it, Uncle Mosh. So if we want to go to a game in San Diego, and appreciate that invite, Joe. And I would love to go. San Diego's gorgeous, man. I freaking love San Diego, man. It's a great place, and that'd be a great place for the Raiders to play. But anyway, so definitely appreciate Alberto giving us a call from Los Angeles. All right, Uncle Mosh, we heard from Kevin again. This is on his way back from Cincinnati.
Hey, Murf. Hey, Uncle Mosh. This is Kevin, the Raider nerd, heading back to Atlanta. Had a great time. Of course, we wish we could have gotten a victory out of there, but I just want to say we had a great time. Hope you enjoyed the call from the temporary black hole here in Cincinnati. We had a wonderful group of super fans that were there, including Gorilla Real, as you know. It was a lot of fun. We represented. I tell you, I think the Raider fans were actually the first ones there in the parking lot. It was amazing. We showed up at 9 o'clock, and there was hardly any Cincinnati fans, but Raider fans were there over there in Lot D. But as things started to happen, the Cincinnati fans came out. A lot of great Cincinnati fans there. It was a lot of fun, and Raider Nation came together. The game was fun to be at. Great stadium to see a game. Unfortunately, we came away with a loss. But like I said, the Cincinnati fans are great, and I look forward to going back there again one day. Murf, you had me on the Good Morning Raider Nation show earlier this week, and I just want to say I had a lot of fun there. But one of the questions that you asked me was, what should we concentrate on in the draft? Which means we may now have a higher draft pick. Well, I think I said defense and maybe some wide receiver help, but now I'm thinking maybe we pick up someone from the O-line because apparently Carr didn't have much time to make any plays during that game. I know we've had some injuries and such, but maybe we can pick up a good guard or something, or a good tackle, maybe in like the third or fourth round, who knows. But anyway, I want to say thanks again for having me on. Mosh, again, thank you, sir, for letting me sit in your chair. Hope I didn't mess up anything too much there. I appreciate you guys having me on, and go Raider Nation!
All right, thank you, Kev, for the call. So, Mosh, before I turn over to you, I want to hit a couple things he mentioned there. Raider Nation, don't be surprised, as much as we're going to get all wound up about, Bosa and even Josh Allen and a lot of the other, big-time superstars out there. Sure. Don't be shocked if the Raiders draft an offensive lineman. I'm just saying, or maybe trade out of the pick, trade back a few spots, and draft an offensive lineman. Because, look, it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. He can't throw from his culo, as you know. And, look, when we look at that Carr this year, Mosh, everyone likes to glorify the 2016 season. We heard Stephen A. do that a little while ago. Oh, they were so great. Of course, you're only great if you follow it up, which we didn't. So how great were we? But anyways, I digress. But when we look at Carr in that 2016 season, when he was touted as a potential MVP candidate, Uncle Mosh, he completed 64% of his passes. He threw for 3,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 picks, and he was sacked only 15 times. You know what his numbers are this year? He's thrown for 68% completion percentage. He's thrown for same thing, 3,700 yards, and we got 2 games left to go. Of course, he got hurt in that year to cut his season short. But 19 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, but he's been sacked 32 more times than he was in 2016. He's been sacked for a total of 47 times, which Mosh puts him 3rd in the league behind Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott. Deshaun's been sacked 52. Dak is 51, and Carr comes up in 3rd place at 47 sacks. I'm telling you, Raider Nation, don't get too wound up about this pass rush. Look, I would love to see it too, because I like superstar power, but don't be shocked if we try to protect our quarterback. That's what they did this year, and it's worked out with mixed results. But what do you think there, Mosh?
I'm saying, what are those numbers going to be if those sacks are just half that?
Yeah. Yeah, what kind of productivity do we? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
When we draft that protection, holy mackerel, it's going to be crazy.
Absolutely. So thank you, Kev. Great call there, and thanks again for joining us in the fan cave. And Uncle Mosh, he's giving you just a surprise. He recognizes the what am I trying to say?
Small error in his ways.
No, I was going to say.
I know what you were going to say.
The gravity of the situation when he takes over your chair.
Okay, so I gotta update you on a little something.
Okay.
We brought up my favorite subject. No, it wasn't any of my divorces.
That was food.
But yeah, that was fun. It was food.
Yeah.
So the chat is talking, okay, Texas brisket. Nobody's going to argue with that. Memphis ribs. Nobody's going to argue with that. North Carolina pulled pork. Nobody's going to argue with that. So they're going. Everybody's throwing in their favorite places to eat and stuff that Raider fan puts, California cannabis. I love that. And of course,
edibles.
And then of course, our fans immediately go, "Wait, you can grill cannabis?
You can in California."
And Q Dog says, "Cannabis barbecue?" Question mark. Go on.
That's great. That is too funny.
Yeah, Raider Critique says you should never barbecue cannabis. That's a party foul.
Yeah. Party for everybody is what it is.
Oh yeah, baby.
But hey, well then let me chime in, and all those are great things. The other thing you can't argue with, California raviolis, specifically from La Villa Delicatessen in downtown Willow Glen, San Jose,
Absolutely.
California.
Lincoln
my
Avenue,
all-time favorite food. There is
Yep.
I could eat. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Well, we could do an entire podcast on La Villa raviolis.
For
couldn't we,
sure.
Mosh?
For
Yeah.
sure.
All right, let's go. Let's go next to our buddy Jack in Albany, Oregon. Jack, if you don't remember, he won the Raiders Bridgestone golf hat, and with his email the other day with his best Raiders holiday story. And so when I sent him that hat, I threw some other things in there, and Jack was very gracious in his response.
Hey, Murf, Uncle Mosh. This is Raider Jack calling from Albany, Oregon. I might call twice, so you can edit this out however you want. But I wanted to thank you guys for the hat. I know, I won the competition and whatnot, and that's awesome. But you guys added a little bit extra to it, and it meant the world to me. Especially when you get a flag with Calvin pissing on the Denver Jackass's freaking logo. I love it. Outside of that, I mean, it meant so much to me. You have no idea. Just reaccumulating some Raiders things is really kind of a big deal to me.
All right, so thank you, Jack. And he kind of goes on. I don't want to self-gratify here, but he's very thankful for us hooking him up. And Mosh, speaking of divorce talk, he kind of lost a bunch of his gear, man. So we hooked him up.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. Jeff at Dead Pirate Sports is a good buddy of ours, and I keep a box of Raiders swag here in the fan cave that Jeff takes care of us on and helps us out, and I share it. I share back with our listeners, and so when we send you stuff, we typically send you extra stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just a way of ours just showing our appreciation and sharing some Raider love.
You
Man.
know why? You know why we share?
Why we share?
We got no more wall space.
I know. We got no more. That's it. We're slap out of room. You know what I mean?
Man.
So,
Monster Mash will be glad to know I'm taking down a picture of one of my kids to put up Otis Sistrunk. But it's not the picture of the first Christmas. Actually, I think I'm taking down a picture of one of your kids.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, one of the 16 Sinatra pictures we got back there.
Yeah, no
kidding,
right?
All right, let's. So Jack called back, and this one was more of a football-related question or commentary or phone call.
Hey guys, this is Made Man Raider Jack from Albany, Oregon. Wanted to touch base about this last week. The Bengals suck. Couldn't really rush, it seemed like. Like, if we could have got together a good rushing charge, that whole passing game would have meant so much more. I mean, especially if you see Derek Carr going for his 9th consecutive game without an interception. Doug Martin came out and rushed for 39 yards. I sit there and I look at him like, we need another running back. Chris Warren, the third, he's not there. We can't make a decision on how he is, but people are talking about Le'Veon Bell. Let's do this, that. I don't really know that we ever go out and get a big name. They're going to acquire talent. But I was looking at it, Bryant getting suspended, and there was rumors of this happening in the beginning of the season. We all knew that was probably part of why he got cut and re-signed, because we can use him until he gets that suspension going indefinitely. So that's probably what all of that was. I don't know if Jared Cook will be back next year. As good as he's playing, it's going to be a matter of if we can afford him. The people we've let go this season, a big contract might not be in the future. We got to see what the GM is going to, say or do. Looking at where we're going to play next year, Murph, I've heard you say a couple places. They're also saying they may play in Glendale with the Cardinals. They're saying they may play at the University of Reno at Mackey Stadium. Sam Boyd, not going to happen. And I can tell you why, because back in the 90s, there was a team there called the Las Vegas Posse in the CFL. And even back then, we had rats handing out crack from the vending machines. I don't know what kind of off-season moves we got to make at this point, but you can count on the fact that it's going to be applied to the system. They're going to pick up a couple lower-end veterans and try to build us through the draft. And we've got enough draft picks to draft the entire Alabama football team. Christmas. Thank you for everything you guys do and putting out this enjoyable fan, podcast. And you've really kind of made my days a lot better between, this and Mosh with you with Mikey. Just listening to you guys go on about a team I love that I grew up with, being a Raiders fan, even back in the days of LA, following him to back to Oakland. I can't thank you enough for the things you do, and keep up the good work. May the silver and black bleed from our veins. Go Raiders.
All right, thanks, Raider Jack, for the phone call. Sorry, I had to kind of skip forward there. We're starting to run out of time. Real fast, to touch on what he had to say about Martavis Bryant. So speaking of weed, the Raiders brought him back knowing that he was going to get suspended, and they were able to employ his services as long as they possibly could. But Mosh, this is one of the ones. And there hasn't been a ton of moves of Gruden and or McKenzie or whoever is making the call that I couldn't defend, but this was one of them. This was an odd one. That was not worth a third-round pick for what we got out of Martavis Bryant, especially since now after this year, I believe he's an unrestricted free agent again.
You do the best you can with what you got, and sometimes it doesn't work out. You
take a shot, right?
It's kind of like, betting on a 6 or an 8. Odds are with you.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you crap out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, so let's go to another one here. New caller to the show. Didn't leave a name, just caller in the 928 area code.
Hey, guys. Just wanted to say I love your show. Love the Raider Cave. I hope one day my room can look like that as well. Anyway, I had a question for you guys about this whole lawsuit thing. If the Raiders indeed leave Oakland next year, no matter where they play, what will they be called? Are they still going to be the Oakland Raiders, or will they become the Vegas Raiders that just aren't in Vegas yet? I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing I was curious about. Anyway, go Raiders. Wherever they play, Super Bowl champs next year. Shock the world. Bye, fellas.
Caller in 928. Go back and listen to the podcast.
Rewind that, yeah. I think you've already heard that. Hopefully you did.
Yep.
And great call. Appreciate you calling the show. And call us back again. And next time, leave your name so we can give you some respect here on the show. All right, the last call of the night, Uncle Mosh, comes to us from another new caller, and this is Dave in Ohio.
What's up, Raiders Fan Radio? This is Dave from Ohio. Man, that was a tough loss. We lost to the Bengals. I drove 4 hours to go see us lose, but hey, at least I got to see my Raiders play. Me and my wife had a good evening and day. What can I say? Carr was on the ground so much, he caught his own pass when it was deflected and figured he should just lay down. Whatever. At least we're going to win the draft, I guess. Always fun to see him play. Go Raiders.
All right, appreciate the phone call, Dave from Ohio. Sorry you had to witness what you did, but yes, anytime you get to spend a day at the park and at the stadium and get to spend it with Raider Nation, it's a good day. We heard firsthand from Kevin this week about the fun and the representation of Raider Nation, and that's always a good thing. Raider Nation always shows up regardless of how well the team does.
Sizzler. 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 Sizzler.
Sizzler. Sizzler. All right, so something that'll never happen on this show is we'll never get a call in from somebody like Wilson's old partner making amends for their bad attitudes and their issues that they've had, or Stephen A. Smith even calling the show. And he would obviously get timed out by Google because the man can't formulate a good argument or, just come up with anything intelligible to say. But somebody that can is me. So, I'm going to prove that I'm the bigger man here, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give the Sizzler to Kevin. Even though
nice.
Kevin, thank you. Even though Kevin sat in my chair, and I never signed the waiver.
No,
but just to show that it's okay. It's okay. Q-Dog's not coming looking for him. It's okay. But I am going to say that Kevin had a couple of great calls. And when you call in, when it's a sizzler, it is, there were some great calls. We had some folks calling people gas bags. We had gag me with a spoon. We had put on his keister. We had some great stuff. We had a guy call from a forklift. Somebody in the chat claimed that he's probably on the YouTube knocking over in an aisle of something, But even Raider Jack with his may we bleed silver and black, there was some good calls. But when you can call in and you're under a minute and you can get Gorilla Rilla to give a shout out.
Strong.
That's strong, bro. That's strong. So welcome to my chair, Kevin, and congratulations on your Sizzler.
Sizzler. Sizzler. Sizzler. Sizzler. Sizzler.
Sizzler.
Sizzler. Congratulations, Kevin, on this week's Sizzler. All right, real quick before we let you get out of here.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders!
You know why we are here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
What kind of a show would it be if we don't hear from Metallica?
I know, right? And I'm so glad you cut me off to play that because I get a little ahead of myself at times. Mosh.
Sometimes.
I get a little ahead of myself.
You're
I get a little
right.
wound up, man. I get all fired up, man. And sometimes I skip past the script that I wrote.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
So thank you for playing that. And I told Uncle Mosh before the show started, I said, man, sometimes you just got to sound drop me. Sometimes you just got to cut me off. Yeah.
Hey, shout out about my shirt.
Shout out about, absolutely. So that's, go ahead, you tell him.
No, you tell him. I'm wearing
you
it.
model,
I'll
I'll describe. All right. So on Uncle Mosh's left lapel, you'll see the logo for Big Raider Trucker. Emblazoned across the chest is the Big Raider Trucker logo. And then across the back is the What Happens in Vegas Started in Oakland shirt. That's right. What Happens in Vegas Started in Oakland. That is a catchphrase that originated here on Raiders Fan Radio by Big Raider Trucker Emiliano. So congratulations to Emiliano for not only winning the contest, but entering into a relationship with DeadPirateSports.com, in which case you can find that shirt and many, many others on DeadPirateSports.com. Also, supplier of many Raiders items and paraphernalia here on Raiders Fan Radio. So we thank Raider
Okay,
Jim.
I'm back.
Okay, all right. So that was my live read. And so if you could see Uncle Mosh there on the YouTubes, he was showing off his shirt and his new Otis Sistrunk picture. Happy birthday, Uncle Mosh! One last time. That's right. Happy birthday. To celebrate, we got you Otis Sistrunk, number 60 autograph picture, and we got you 60 donuts downstairs.
Hey, so one of the guys on the Sean says, Mosh, every time you pop on screen, it says Kevin the Raider Nerd in the bottom left.
Oh, no.
Looks like Murf's trying to replace you. First the chair.
Crap.
Secondly, your name.
Oh, no, I forgot to switch that.
Oh, do I need to go back? Speaking of switch and...
Oh, no.
Sizzler.
There it is.
Sizzler.
Sizzler.
Sizzler. My question is, why didn't Q get that?
Oh, why did somebody didn't notice that until just now we're getting ready to sign off.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just fixed it, but it's probably way too little too late. Sorry about that, Mosh.
That's all right. I don't mind.
My bad.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
There's just one more shot. You give me a signed autograph picture of Otis Sistrunk, and then you call me Kevin the Raider Nerd the whole time.
Gosh, Mosh, I'm sorry. I feel terrible.
Joseph Morales says, LOL, busted.
Oh, man, my bad. This is why we need a producer. This is why we need a producer. I say it all the time. We need a producer because I'm literally trying to do 800 things at once. And one of the things that I can't do a good enough job of is keeping up with the chat. So I try to read it as much as I can. And I apologize that I can't really respond to it in their typing. I try to at least address topics as we read through them. But thank you for joining us, Raider Homer, Mr. Raider, Sean Quinn, Joseph Morales, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Chris Potts, I see in there, Bobby Wasabi. I can't scroll up to see everybody. Art Rodriguez is in there. Vladimir is in there. And so thank you so much, guys, for jumping in and joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio, as always. So real quick, though, before we let you go, I did want to give a quick draft update. So as of right now, Uncle Mosh, we're drafting second in the standings behind the Arizona Cardinals. So we are definitely in the Nick Bosa running, or at least in the position to at least draft back. So we're drafting second as of right now with the Raiders loss and the Niners winning. All right. So before we go, best way to support the show is like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah, so like if you're watching us now on the YouTube.
No, you were giving me the push the sound cue look. And I was like,
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, what did I do
wrong?
I
was throwing it to you.
Oh,
yeah. So like and subscribe to the show. You can find us youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave. That's MURFS Fan Cave. Please subscribe to Raiders Fan Radio on YouTube. That is the best way as of right now to support our little show here. We have become big fans of the live stream, mainly due to the interaction that we're able to have with you. And so please subscribe to us if you don't. You can also find this as an audio-only podcast on every podcast service. That is Apple Podcast, that is Stitcher, that is Google Play, that is Spotify, that is iHeartRadio, that is anywhere you can find a podcast. Just search for Murf's Fan Cave. There is also an Android app you can find us on. You can go to the Google Play Store and you can search Murf's Fan Cave and find the Android app, and that gets you this show, that gets you Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and that gets you the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead, Tom, and Fitz, and sometimes Chris Potts.
Yeah, man. And so
like, did I miss anything?
No, man. And you know, and I just got to say this. If you're listening and you get a chance, how do they find out? How do people know when we're going to be on so that people can join the chat? Because the chat has had a blast tonight. And the chat has been rocking it, and they have fun every week. And it really is a good time. It's a good way for Raider Nation to connect. So how do they know when to be on for the chat?
So we try to go on live on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time on youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave. Now, we, depending on our work schedules and whatnot, sometimes we're a little earlier, sometimes we're a little later, but relatively in that range. The best way is that there's a bell on YouTube. When you subscribe, there's a little bell next to subscribe. Click that bell, and then what that'll do is that'll shoot you a notification when we go live.
Gotcha.
And then you'll always know when we are live here with Raiders Fan Radio. So like all the folks that joined us for the Good Morning Raider Nation, the coffee we had with Kevin the Raider Nerd, that's how they knew. They have that bell activated. So as soon as we go live, boom, you get a notification sent to your phone. Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So we got one last comment about Stephen A. Smith. I just want to go out saying this. That's all I got, bro.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
to everybody with all the happy birthday wishes. I appreciate that a ton. Can't wait to be back and be officially an old man. I guess I can get free coffee at McDonald's now.
You get free coffee for being 60?
You actually get it. I've been getting it for a good 6 years now since I started. I started claiming 55 at 53. So. Yeah, no, you get. You'd be surprised the free stuff, dude. Being a veteran and an old man, I can go into like Red Robin and get a $9 burger for $3. You know.
That is awesome. All right, Uncle Mosh, let's get on out of here.
Well, like Raider Jack said, may silver and black run through our veins. What happens in Vegas started in Oakland.